So the thing about these survival resources is just like the instincts that they're all really here to protect us and to help us survive and to come out of the situation better than we were before. So one of my survival resources comes from being raised in a family where I was the oldest and my parents were completely overwhelmed and under-resourced. I was the oldest at my mom's house of 6 kids. My parents had full-time jobs. They were working to take care of us, and it was a lot for them. It was too much. So if I wasn't helpful for them or helping to do the dishes or clean the house or take care of my little sisters and brothers, then I was like getting criticized and critiqued a lot and really put down in a way. So and the less resources my parents had, the more angry they were, the more strict they were, the more that came down on me. So I got really good at being like mommy's little helper. I got really good at sacrificing my own needs and just giving and doing and being for other people. And the other kind of survival resource that would come with that was like, because I was so young and I didn't even know that I have my own needs, when it would get to the point where it was too much, I would basically just isolate and withdraw and run out into the woods or run away or go to a friend's house, and I wouldn't come back for as long as I could. And that was basically me taking the space that I needed.
It's common that we live in this culture that pathologizes these ways to survive. There's something wrong with us, that we keep caretaking, we keep ignoring our needs and things like that. So if you think about your survival resources as a shortcoming, as something that is wrong with you, that you tend to, like, this is like, how does it feel?
Yeah, when I imagine this survival resource as a shortcoming, I feel kind of broken.
Yeah.
I feel really like not like a person. Like I feel like a product of a difficult situation instead of like a compensation, which makes me feel a lot of sadness, and grief and kind of worthlessness. It's kind of heavy, and like there's a flavor of there being something wrong with me.
And I'm curious if you can look back into your life and kind of assess, like, when were these resources helpful? Like, can you see, I mean, you were insinuating that a little bit in the beginning. This was one way that you coped. Can you speak a little bit how they were actually created to help you deal with?
Yeah, well, I think the combination of these two survival resources led me to get a job and start working when I was 14 or 13. Yeah. Like, I mean, I was babysitting when I was like 11 or 12, and I was working under the table in a restaurant when I was 14, and I never stopped. I just kept working and got a lot of experience and started learning more and more about business and how it could be helpful, and kind of really excelling really fast in the work scene professionally, because of how helpful I was and how I could read situations and anticipate what would be needed in them. And it was like, for example, when I was a waitress or a bartender, I was getting the biggest tips, like really fat tips, because I was just so on top of it. I could just, I knew everything everyone needed. They had things before they needed it. And I was just kind of super competent in the way that I serve.
Your energy is really shifting right now. Can you tell? When you tap into that teenager who just like left house and went basically and did what she was taught to do for free at home. Now she got fat tips for it.
Totally.
It's like, whoa, power to you.
Yeah.
So when you think about these survival mechanisms as a resource, like as something like, what do you notice now?
Yeah, I'm aware that it feels more empowering. It feels more like I feel like I have a superpower or a gift or some kind of really like a gift.
Yeah.
Like I have a special skill that I was trained in since I was young that's served me and created, I mean, frankly, this whole business.
Totally.
And our events and has been why so much of me has been successful is because I really overdeveloped these skills as a child.
Yeah. So in a way, you're really reframing a survival resource into a superpower.
Yeah.
I think that's very, very true for most of us, is that we are so trained in these challenging environments that we have to like develop these very niche styled, like they're very specialized functions. Some kids, they are super smart, so they become like accountants, or computers programmers or whatever. Like we can actually like see many people like really living their lives based upon how they survived, and now they're thriving in a way.
Yeah.
So we just want to draw your attention to these. Yeah.
And this is tonight's homework. Basically, we just led you through it.
Yeah.
Is to look at the next sheet and reframe your survival resource.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Have fun. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Dig into it and feel it and come out the other way.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.